Hello, everyone. Thank you very much for being here today in my presentation. So today I'm going to talk about using generative AI responsibly as a student. Okay, so let's have a look on the background, right? So the situation is that nowadays the generative AI is becoming widely used among students. And in fact, it is a good thing because we expect that in the future, the interview question will not be, do you know how to use Microsoft Office? But it will become, do you know how to use Gen AI tools, right? So the fact that a lot of students are using Gen AI is a good thing, right? But the complication is that using Gen AI without proper guidelines can lead to academic integrity issue, privacy concern, shallow or even misinformation, and finally, the failure to develop critical thinking skill of the student, right? So the question is, how can we effectively use Gen AI while avoiding the mistake mentioned above? So today we're gonna answer this question. So before we try to answer the question, let me briefly talk about Gen AI. So Gen AI is actually not only ChatGPT, right? So we have a lot of Gen AI application. For the general purposes, we have ChatGPT, which is the most famous one. And then we have Gemini from Google. We have Cloud, which is my preference. I always, I, I myself, I like using Cloud. And then we have Meta AI from Facebook. Those are kind of zero application, Gen AI applications. On the other hand, we have some specific Gen AI application. For example, SoundDraw for making audio, Synthesia for making video, Bing Designer for making image, and Copilot for creating code based on the form. Right? Okay, so here's some of the Gen AI uses that is very good and being encouraged for the student. So you can always use Gen AI to explore new topics, right? So previously, when you want to explore any new topics or you want to learn any new topics, you have to, you not have to, but you should use the W question, right? Including the what, who, when, where, why, and how. And so by using this question, you can understand, you can learn a new concept, new topics thoroughly, right? And nowadays, you can use the same questions here. You ask this question to Gen AI, and then Gen AI can give you a good answer. And then there are some more ways to explore new topics. For example, if we want to use Gen AI, you can ask Gen AI to form like give me a metaphor for something. So they will give a metaphor that explain things easily. Right? And secondly, Gen AI can also be used to locate resources. Right? You can ask Gen AI to provide some reference for some topic, right? But of course, when you use Gen AI for locating resources, then it is just for your reference, right? You have to check it with uh, Google Scholar or the library, right? And then you can also use Gen AI for reading and note taking. You can give Gen AI a long paragraph, and then you ask Gen AI to summarize this paragraph, right? And then you can also use Gen AI to getting started with writing, right? You can ask ask Gemini to give me a template for writing a report on something, right? And then it will give you a report so that you can start with. Of course, you have to, starting from the template, you have to improve it. And also Gemini can help you to get feedback from, on your writing. You can also ask Gemini to revise the tone of your writing, right? And you can say like, what is the tone of this writing? And you can ask Gemini to revise the tone to make it more professional or more friendly, or you have to, you can give the request to Gemini, right? Whatever tone you want to apply to your writing. Okay, so now we move to the the more important part, which are related to the ethical use of Gen AI. I want to talk about Gen AI in the assessment, right? Okay, so the first thing you have to care about the Gen AI in assessment is that you have to check the Gen AI allow level, right? So this information will be given in the subject outline. So there are 5 levels, right? So the first level is no AI. That means you are not allowed to use Gen AI in your assessment. Typically, it is in the quiz or final exam, for example, you are not allowed to use Gen AI at all. And then you can use Gen AI for to assist you in the idea generation and structuring, right? And then you can, in the level 3, you have AI assisted editing. And then level 4 will be AI task completion and human evaluation. And then level 5, you have the full AI uses, right? So you can see that for different levels here, the responsibility of the AI is more and more, right? And the responsibility of human is become lesser and lesser. Yeah, so the critical point here is that you have to always check your subject outlines to see what is the level of the Gen AI's allow uses. Okay, so the second thing is that you have to expose and acknowledge your Gen AI uses, right? So if in case you quote, you paraphrase, or you summarize material using Gen AI, then you have to cite this information as you would with any other sources, right? So in CityMath, we use Harvard referencing. So you should also follow the Harvard referencing. If you quote, paraphrase, or summarize the material from Gen AI, right? So here I give an example of how you can reference. This one is the Clouder, right? I referenced Clouder AI. Okay, so in here we have the index citation, and in here we have the list of the reference, right? I think you have the training on the referencing, so you understand what I'm talking about. We have the index part, and we have the list of the reference part. So that is for the first case. And then if you use Gen AI for editing or translating, then you don't have to cite Gen AI, but you should acknowledge by providing a brief acknowledgement statement at the end of your document. So depending on the situation, if you quote, paraphrase, or summarize, you have to cite Gen AI. Or if you use Gen AI to edit or translate, then please acknowledge Gen AI. Okay, and then please remember that privacy matters when using Gen AI, because you know that when you input your information in the prompt, that data will be saved in the database of the Gen AI tools, right? So, and then this information can be used for commercial purpose. So it is very important that you do not include your own or other personal private information in the prompts, right? So imagine like if you use, for example, you're looking for Google, right? And then you use ChatGPT and you look for some information of the Google company to ChatGPT, then it is not a good thing to have, right? So please be aware about the privacy. Do not include your own or others' personal or private information in the prompt. And then the last but not the least, you have to evaluate and follow up with GenAI output, right? Because GenAI tool can produce invalid or unreliable information, or sometimes it contains bias. Because the GenAI tools, it depends on the training data, right? So people will give the GenAI the training data, and based on the training data, uh, GenAI can give you the answer, right? So the information that people input into the for the training phase of the GenAI really affect the output of the GenAI, right? So accordingly, GenAI output can be biased, or it can be invalid or unreliable, right? So it is your job to evaluate the output of the GenAI. So that's why the critical thinking is very, very important in this case, right? Because after all, you are the person who are responsible for your work, right? It's not GenAI who is responsible. Right? And also, beside the being sometimes being unreliable or biased, most of the time the initial output from GenAI will be very shallow, right? It's not very deep, and it do not contain some critical thinking or evaluation, right? So it is also your responsibility to bring the following up questions, so to improve the the output from GenAI. So that is the things that I have discussed. So let me summarize. So first, I want to emphasize that the skill to use GenAI is become very, very critical, right? So instead of asking whether you can use Microsoft Office, the recruiter, the interviewer will ask you whether you can use GenAI in works, right? So it is very important that you develop your skill in using GenAI. And secondly, you can use GenAI for learning, locating resource, reading and note taking, getting started with writing, and have the feedback on writing. And finally, very important that in the GenAI when you want to use GenAI in the assessment, it's very important for you to check the GenAI allow level, expose and acknowledge the GenAI uses. Pay attention to the privacy when you use GenAI, and also the most important thing is evaluate and follow up with the GenAI output. And here's the list of the reference that I use to prepare this PowerPoint. And if you have any question, then of course please feel free to send me an email. So here is my email. My name is Linh Hoang, and I am open to answer any question from you. Thank you very much.